Hello everyone, I'm Karis. Thank you so much for being here and listening to the Voice of Astrology podcast. This is our astrology for the week beginning Sunday, August 20th through Saturday, August 26th, 2023. Starcasting to you from the City of Angels, this is your astrology cosmic superpower. Let's journey together with astrology and explore how to connect with the stars, the planets, the energies for our new week ahead. Sunday, August 20th, we have the moon in Libra ruled by Venus. Venus is retrograde in the sign of Leo. Venus, the Queen of Heaven, has re-emerged as a morning star. She's visible now. And with the week starting off with the moon in Libra, the moon is what we need. It's what we need to have. And when it's in the sign of Libra, which is relationships and what you need in love, in partnership, Libra and Venus, this is all about what gives you pleasure in love. So the moon to begin with is what we need. Libra and Venus is what pleases you, what makes you happy in a love relationship. The Venus retrograde in Leo, which we've been hearing so much about, is that return, that reflection on what is it that you truly want in a relationship? What makes you happy? The moon is about what we are trying to acquire, what it is that, like an appetite, we just need this to feel satisfied. When the moon is happy, and I always say feed your moon, but when the moon is happy, when the moon gets what it needs, then that feeling of peace, especially with the sign of Libra, that feeling of peace, that feeling of contentment and centeredness and calmness. When the moon in Libra gets what it needs in a love relationship, then the moon is in a very satisfied placement. Now, with the moon in Libra, ruled by Venus, Venus retrograde in Leo, one of the things that this cosmic superpower is supporting you with is how much attention, how much romance. Venus and Leo, that's all about the heart and romance. How much do you need, and are you being fulfilled with the attention, the romance, and also the fire, the excitement of relationship? Now, along with this, we have the moon in Libra making an inconjunct aspect to Jupiter and Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. The moon is making a really nice sextile aspect of opportunity to Venus in Leo. And the moon in Libra is also making an opposition, a separation aspect to Chiron in Aries. So when we blend all of this together, then the moon in Libra, making that inconjunct to Jupiter in Taurus, is trying to make the adjustments, the adaptions necessary to be satisfied with the sensations, the physical sensations of love. This is Taurus. Taurus is Gaia, Mother Earth. Taurus rules over the sense of fragrance and touch and food and sound and music and sight, what you're looking at. So the adjustments that we're trying to make with the moon in Libra, making that inconjunct aspect to Jupiter in Taurus, this is knowing and finding out what your love style is. Everyone's love style, everyone's sexual appetites and styles, it's different for each person. And the moon is trying to figure this out as we start off on Sunday. The moon in Libra is also making a sextile aspect. That's a nice aspect of opportunity to Venus in Leo. That's the excitement and the romance. When we look at the moon in Libra, Venus in Leo, that's the romantic things that we do and would like to receive in a love relationship. Now, then the moon in Libra makes what's called an opposition aspect to Chiron, the wounded healer in Aries. Now, an opposition is a separation aspect. And when this aspect takes place with the signs that are I am Aries versus Libra, we are, then this opposition aspect is about the selfishness, or we're in this together, the compromise, what we give to each other. Moon opposition Chiron in Aries is the balancing out of, if your sense of self, this is Aries, if your sense of self, your authentic self, and speaking your truth, what it is you really need and want in love, then the opposition, the I versus we axis, Aries versus Libra, then this doesn't have to be a separation, but it is the two energies of the willingness to be fulfilled, but also to fulfill the other person's love needs. Along with that, with the week starting off with the moon in Libra, trying to figure out how to make the relationship better, we are also starting off the week with a once in 2 year aspect. Now, once every 2 years, we have the planet Mars make an opposition to Neptune. So this Mars is in Virgo, making an opposition to Neptune in Pisces. Mars opposition Neptune, along with trying to figure it all out in a love area. Mars opposition Neptune is low energy. It can feel discouraged. It can feel depressed, whereas Mars wants to just push right through. It's a go-getter. Mars takes action and wants to get things done. That Neptune in Pisces is dissolving the action. And so the feeling of, I am not getting what I want right now in a love situation. Go easy on yourself, because Mars-Neptune opposition is not only don't try to push through a situation, it's take care of your energy, your vitality. This is an energy, an astrological aspect where if you're feeling like you need a lot of sleep and rest, and like that old saying, let me sleep on it before I make a decision. That's really good with how we're starting off the week. With the moon in Libra, which is always in the process of trying to balance things out and make the right final decision. With this Mars opposition Neptune, which is, think of it as Neptune is the ocean, so think of it as low tide. The tide has gone out. And so before you make a love decision, sleep on it. Mars opposition Neptune. Now, the exact moment of the Mars opposition Neptune, it isn't until Tuesday, August 22nd, but you give it a few days on either side. So Mars opposition Neptune is a biggie this week, and as we're starting off the week in the area of just low energy, take it easy. Don't try to push through. If you're noticing that other people seem to be sleepy, confused, not really on it when it comes to their focus, it's all part of this collective energy. It's all part of the cosmic superpower that is always trying to guide and support, saying you don't have to get to the finish line right now, which is what Mars always wants to do. Slow it down. It's not a retrograde. It's more, why try to take on a big task if the energy to back it up isn't there? Also, the Mars opposition Neptune serves another purpose, which is Where are the lies? Where are the potential deceits that may be taking place while you are in the process of making a decision about love? Get to the truth. Ask questions. Don't just make assumptions. If it seems too good to be true, wait. And this Mars opposition Neptune connected to the love moon in Libra is take a look at what your own intuition is telling you about if you're getting the truth or not. That's why it's slowing down the energy and saying cosmically, just sleep on it. You don't have to do it right now. You don't have to decide right now. Monday, August 21st, we still have the moon in Libra. And the moon in Libra is making more inconjunct aspects. The moon in Libra makes an inconjunct to Uranus in Taurus, ruled by Venus. Moon in Libra makes an inconjunct Antisha to Neptune in Pisces. The moon in Libra then makes a square to Pluto in Capricorn. The moon in Libra makes a sextile to the sun in Leo, in its home sign, its domicile. The sun in Leo makes an inconjunct aspect to Pluto in Capricorn. Now, when we look at the inconjuncts, the constant trying to make something fit that simply doesn't fit. When you're trying to wear a shoe that is too small, or you're trying to make something fit that is too large, these inconjuncts are potentially wearing you down and wearing out your energy, trying to make something right that just isn't the right fit for you. This is also connected to the Mars opposition Neptune that I just mentioned, part of this once in every 2 years Mars opposition Neptune aspect. It's the exhaustion, the low energy from the constant driving yourself crazy, obsessing over something that you want to make fit, but it simply does not fit. Don't try to push through this. Later on in the afternoon, then the moon enters her fall in the sign of Scorpio. So when the moon enters fixed water Scorpio, her fall placement, this is the emotional imprints of how you are so hard on yourself, if you are tough on yourself, that you need to release. The imprints with the moon in Scorpio of criticizing yourself, emotionally being so hard on yourself, because the moon in Scorpio is fixed water. It's all or nothing at all, black or white, love or hate. It's fixed in the feelings. And so whatever emotion you have become fixated on, you're constantly angry perhaps, or you're constantly feeling sad. The moon in Scorpio, which is ruled by Mars, and Mars is opposing Neptune, these negative emotions are now taking a toll on you, where it's so draining and so tiring to have the ruler of Scorpio, Mars, making this opposition to the higher octave of Venus, which is Neptune. Basically, what this is trying to say is replenish your energy and how you're feeling with the positive emotions. Let it go, whatever negative emotion or emotions you have become fixed in that are now being emphasized as far as how draining they are to you with this once in 2 year aspect, Mars opposition Neptune. Also, take a look at a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, when we were still in COVID time. Take a look at what was the emotion, what happened a couple of years ago that perhaps you became fixated, obsessed about. This is Scorpio, obsession, addictions, a one-way emotional track. Now you could be reflecting on your relationships with Venus retrograde and reflecting back over the past couple of years and realizing, seeing, the past couple of years when I got into such and such relationship, my emotions started to change. Whether it's love, business, friendship, whatever the relationship may be, 2 years ago, what was happening in your life that perhaps you became obsessed with a certain emotion and it started to drain you. And now with this Mars opposition Neptune again, you're feeling as we're starting off the week, a couple of years ago, that did happen emotionally. And now I'm really feeling the energetic toll it's taken on your health and well-being. Tuesday, August 22nd, we still have the moon in her fall in the sign of Scorpio. The moon in Scorpio makes a water trine flow to Saturn in Pisces. Saturn in Pisces is the obsessions, the delusions, the worst lies we tell, which are the lies we tell ourselves, and how that addictive behavior, you meet someone, you get a crush, all of a sudden the fantasy machine starts to kick in, and now you're fantasizing about how you're going to get married and how in love with you they are, and all this kind of thing where it doesn't exist anywhere except up in your own head, in your own mind. And the moon in obsessive Scorpio making that trine. A trine is a supportive aspect in astrology, a water trine flow to Saturn in Pisces, which is saying you've got to get away from the addictions. And the Saturn in Pisces is the self-delusion, the lies we tell ourselves, and how that needs to go at this time, because this is a part of the Mars opposition Neptune, Scorpio ruled by Mars, and they're saying to each other very nicely with the trine aspect, we've got to stop this obsessive thinking and teenage fantasy stuff that doesn't exist anywhere other than in our own head, and the cost that it does cost. As far as Neptune and Saturn in Pisces, wanting to build the dream in a reality, not just in a fantasy in your own mind. Also, we have Venus in Leo making a square aspect to Jupiter in Taurus. So Venus square Jupiter, these are the two goodies, the greater and lesser benefics. And they're making squares to each other, which means don't overindulge. Mars in Virgo does make the exact opposition to Neptune in Pisces. The moon in Scorpio then makes a square to Venus in Leo, two fixed signs that are ready to go at it if we don't calm it down. Moon in Scorpio makes an opposition to Jupiter in Taurus, two feral fixed signs of the zodiac that can be battling over money and value. So with the moon in Scorpio making a square to Venus in Leo, feral sign, and then the opposition moon in Scorpio making the opposition to Jupiter in Taurus. These are like wild animals going at it because of where they feel they are not getting what they need. With the Venus in Leo, that would be obviously the praise and the attention. Jupiter in Taurus is what are we doing with the money and how are we spending and or making the money grow. And then the moon in Scorpio with Mars, its ruler, in weakened right now. That's push all you will with the willpower and the control. It's not a good time to do this. Wednesday, August 23rd, Mercury's day. We have Mercury station retrograde in Virgo. Now, this Mercury retrograde is from August 23rd through September 15th. Mercury moves out of its storm shadow cycle on September 19th, 2023. Now, along with Mercury in Virgo stationing retrograde, we also have the sun's entry into the sign of Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury. Now, Mercury in Virgo, its domicile and exaltation. That is just a fabulous, strong placement. And with the solar entry, the sun's ingress into Virgo, this is the entry into harvest time. What have you accomplished? It's taking stock, looking back over the past year as we're preparing to move into the autumn. Looking back over the past year so far, and with that Virgo eye, what are the things that you have made grow? What have you invested in? And what are the things that, like how we just discussed for the beginning of this week, it's poison, it's toxic. It has to go at this time. The solar ingress into Virgo is the purification process. It's not just the separating in harvest time, the wheat from the chaff, the healthy from the poison. Virgo is about bringing something into its purest essence. It's a cleansing, healing, purification. So let's say you're working on something, and instead of adding things in, the Virgo component is about taking away what is false, what is not authentic. This is part of not only the separation, but the purification, healing of what needs to go because it's not truly true. It's not real. With the solar ingress into Virgo, with Mercury stationing retrograde in Virgo, this would highlight your word, what you say. Mercury is the messenger god. It's communication. Its function is to deliver a message. That's what it does. Mercury goes down to Hades, Pluto's realm, gets the message, and then comes back and delivers the message. So the purification healing process of the solar ingress into Virgo and Mercury stationing retrograde in Virgo is the healing, cleansing process of what you say, how you say it, is it the truth, what is the intention behind it, and what have you harvested so far during the year based on how and what you have communicated, the promises you've made, the words you say. Do you use the power of Mercury to lift someone up or tear them down? How have you perhaps misled or outright lied? This is the Mars opposition Neptune. Where are the lies and the deceit? Especially the lies you tell yourself, and how draining that can be, how tiring. Part of the reason why we want to sleep during a Mars opposition Neptune is because the truth can come through your dreams, the dream state. After all of the distractions of daily life and 1,000 things going on, when your brain just turns to mush, you go to sleep and you go to that quiet place where things can only be revealed very clearly, sometimes scary and a nightmare, in the dream state. So as Mercury is retrograding and we are cleansing and purifying in the Virgo season, which I happen to love so much. I say it pretty much every podcast. I talk about how much I love Virgo because it tends to get a bad rap in astrology. And Virgo is the healing modality, the healing sign of if you just take away what is fake and false in your life, that is the purification healing. In particular, especially with what it is that you say. Mercury, the messenger. What are you saying? Thursday, Jupiter's Day, August 24th, we have the second quarter moon at 1 degree Sagittarius. Now, the second quarter is when we cross over from second quarter to full moon. The moon is increasing in light. The power is intensifying. The energy is amping up. We're building towards the full moon culmination. And this month, we are having 2 full moons within 1 month. We're moving towards the full moon in Pisces, which I will get to next week. But as we move towards the full moon on Thursday, Jupiter's Day, and the moon enters mutable fire Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, and the moon and the sun at the second quarter, they square off with each other. The moon in Sag makes a square to the sun in Virgo. And then the moon in Sagittarius makes a square to Saturn in Pisces. Pisces also ruled by Jupiter. This is the cosmic energy of how not only your philosophy can be in conflict with practical matters if you don't get down to earth and more practical. Sun in Virgo. Moon in Sagittarius, which is, but I want it all and I want it all right now. Forget the details. Just give the big end results. The moon in Sagittarius making that square to Saturn in Pisces. 2 Jupiterians here, Sag and Pisces. And Saturn is saying, nope, wait a minute. Before you get that end result, Saturn accomplishment, what have you become addicted to in the process? What could you potentially become addicted to in the process of a moon square Saturn saying, I want what I want right now? And when we look at Sagittarius and Pisces, the trap here is to become very arrogant and start to believe that you are the law. When we look at Sagittarius, which rules over the law, and it's the 9th house, which has to do with God's law, and this moon in Sag is making a square to Saturn in Pisces, which is addicted to the power. I am the law. No, you're not. Then this is the moon square Saturn in Pisces, which is so impatient to have it all right now. And what is the trap? What is the test, so to speak, when you do get it all? And there will be tests when you have it all. Also on Thursday, August 24th, we have the Mars in Virgo making an Earth trine flow to Pluto in Capricorn. A trine is supportive. This is Earth. Now, Mars in its joy is reflecting on, because we're still in this Mars opposition Neptune cycle, is go deeper to Pluto's realm, Pluto in Capricorn. Go right down to the bottom and dig deep, which Mars does like to dig, it's action. But dig very deeply about what are the true goals. What are the true goals that will bring you the contentment, peace, and happiness that you are looking for. Friday, Venus's day, we still have the moon in Sagittarius, and the moon in Sagittarius makes a fire trine to Venus in Leo. Moon in Sag makes an inconjunct to Jupiter in Taurus. Moon in Sag makes a fire trine flow to Chiron in Aries. Then the moon in Sag makes a square to Mercury in Virgo. Moon in Sag makes an inconjunct to Uranus in Taurus. Now, the moon in Sagittarius making that square to Mercury in Virgo, the moon in Sagittarius can be very blunt. It can just blurt things out inappropriately at the wrong time. The Mercury in Virgo, which is now retrograde, is this square aspect, this conflict between the moon and Sag saying, I just want to say it. I have to have the conversation right now and let it all out. And I have been continuously asked by my astrology clients over the past week, that they just have to have that here we go again kind of conversation in relationship. The Mercury in Virgo retrograde is saying, don't. Take a look at every small detail of what it is that you want to say, what it is that you are about to say, because we're looking at a square aspect, which is conflict between the big philosophy, the big picture Sagittarius, and then the small details that mean so much, Mercury retrograde in Virgo. So, for instance, let's say the moon in Sagittarius wants that big ticket item, that big trip right now. And the Mercury reflecting retrograde in Virgo is saying, yes, but if we were to really look at all the details of what it's going to cost, the hotels, the tickets, the this, the that, the food, the dining out, the moon in Sagittarius with this aspect is say, don't worry about it. We'll put it on a credit card or something, or we'll deal with it when we get there. The Mercury in Virgo retrograde is not having that. Whether Virgo is stationary, direct, retrograde, or whatever, the Virgo is not having, let's just forget the small details, the practical matters, without checking that out. So on Friday, Venus's day, just pull it back. We don't have to have the conversation right now. The moon in Sag, which is what I need, the moon in Sag is apt to just go for it anyway and never know when to quit, because Jupiter in Sagittarius doesn't know when to stop. It just keeps going and going and going. And the trap here is that the philosophy of the Sagittarius and Sagittarius ruling over the law is the inclination to say, but this is the big picture, the way it has to be. The Mercury in Virgo again is pulling out the bills and the checks and saying, yes, but this is the reality, Earth, of what exactly this would cost us long term if we did that big thing right now that we don't really have to do. Then the moon in Sagittarius makes an inconjunct aspect to Uranus in Taurus, the money sign. Taurus does not like to have to go pawn at a pawn shop something that is theirs, because moon in Sagittarius had to have the big ticket item right now. That does not fly with Taurus when you mess with their possessions and what they have and their money. So the inconjunct again, trying to make something fit that simply does not fit. Just let it be for the moment. Saturday, August 26th, what's happening here is that we are closing out the week with the moon going into its detriment of Capricorn. Now, the moon in Capricorn is the opposite of the moon at home in Cancer. The moon is what we need. When the moon is in Capricorn in exile, so far away from the needs, the moon in Capricorn says, wait a minute, I have needs? What are those? And one of the needs of Capricorn is to not feel poor, to not feel broke. Capricorn is the sign of accomplishment, setting goals, going to the top of the mountain. The moon in Capricorn, its furthest opposite detrimental placement, is like the moon is now starving. The moon is food. Not only what you need, but of course, along with what you need is to be fed. The moon in Capricorn is like this. Instead of spending on big stuff that we really don't need, why don't we go and buy a bunch of canned items or something like that, something where we stock up the kitchen and it looks like the kitchen is overflowing with food. There's more than enough. The moon in Capricorn loves that, needs that, even though it doesn't know it needs that, perhaps. This is the moon in her exile. What do you need when you're out in the wilderness? You're out in exile. You need food, shelter, water, the basics, and most importantly, you need to feel safe. You need to feel like you're being protected. This is the Capricorn moon. If the moon isn't taken care of as a first priority, like the newborn baby with the nurturing mother, if the moon isn't fed as the first priority, then the fears, the anxieties, the make-believe things that aren't true, that are scaring you, it's just all up in your head. This can be the moon in Capricorn as we close out the week on Saturday, Saturn's day. The fears, the irrational fears, when the moon isn't taken care of, that blocks you, stops you from moving forward and accomplishing your goal, meaning to get back home, get back to the castle. This is how we're closing out the week. So on Friday, the debate, potentially big argument over what are we spending on and what's behind it all. And then closing out the week with, we don't have to spend it all, actually. We could just make sure that everything is safe and comfortable for today, Moon in Capricorn, before we move forward with big over-the-top, never knowing when to quit energies taking place. When there are big over-the-top energies taking place, channel that into something productive and or creative. Pushing through this week or trying to win a point, go whole hog, big spending, big whatever, for this week as we're starting off in a once in every 2-year time frame of the Mars opposition Neptune, and the results of what it costs you isn't worth it. With the Virgo component in entering Virgo season, which wants to purify, heal, and cleanse by taking away what is false, fake, it isn't necessary. You don't have to have it right now. So this is your cosmic energy, your cosmic superpower for this week that we're having with this major aspect that doesn't happen all of the time. And as the light is starting to increase and we're moving towards that full moon in Pisces. So be well, be healthy, have a fabulous week, and always we do the best we can. What else can we do? We just try to do our best with everything going on and being connected to our energy and the cosmic energy. And thank you, everyone. I will see you all in the stars. Thank you.